Okay, welcome back. So we've talked about a few things not to do, but how can we be proactive about minimizing the theft? And once we found it, how do we deal with it? One of the strategies we can use is called the spot drop. Used in higher volume establishments, this entails actually swapping out a drawer in the middle of service for your bartender. This enables the operator to do a spot check of the money in the drawer against the report at that exact moment. If, when you justify the drawer, you find that it is off significantly, your bartender is probably not being honest and ringing everything in. We'll talk more about that and how to do it in a separate video, which will go into great detail. Another strategy that we can use is shoppers and spotters. So what are they and how do they work? Shoppers are there to evaluate all levels of the customer experience, from friendliness of the staff, from appearance, to time it takes to place and receive their order. Shoppers can provide a tremendously helpful report on their experience in our restaurant. This can also be used as a great training tool for your servers and your bartenders. Spotters, on the other hand, are there to evaluate your bartenders. They literally are attempting to spot anything taking place that shouldn't be, such as bartenders not ringing in drinks, giving drinks away, and the like. Using shoppers can be a great training tool for the staff and usually will have a positive effect on morale. Using spotters is a little trickier, especially if they are not familiar with how your business runs. For either of these methods, it's absolutely crucial that the people doing the observing have previously worked in the hospitality industry and have held some highly skilled positions. In our video on shoppers and spotters, we go into much greater depth on ways the process can be used, what to look for, and much more. Finally, we need to be present on the floor. Maintaining a presence on the floor allows us to observe how our servers are interacting with the customers, with each other, and with the register. It may sound obvious, but many restaurant GMs do not make it a priority to be on the floor at night. So if they're not usually on the floor, what's the effect of this when they are? The servers become nervous and they become hyper accurate. Oftentimes you'll have more mistakes made in that environment than you would in a day-to-day operation. Basically, you'll never get a truthful read on the staff unless your presence on the floor is a normal occurrence. So when we talk about having a presence on the floor, we're also talking about observing. If you see something that doesn't make sense, like maybe a bartender serves 3 beers and 3 shots, but only charges the customers a few dollars, make a note of it discreetly. Be sure to write down the time and any relevant information. The next day, do a little research. If you've got cameras, take a look. If you've got a POS system, go through the log file and look at the transaction. If you're using an electronic cash register, look through the register tape. Since you wrote down the time it took place last night, this won't take much time whatsoever. Then, if something doesn't look right, you can easily create a paper trail of the transaction in question. With most POS systems, you can quickly and easily find the information you're looking for and then copy and paste it into a text file to print out. We'll go into far greater detail on how to do this in our video on EJ Organizer and how to create a paper trail. Now that you've found something that doesn't quite look right, you've got a choice to make. You can either have a meeting with the bartender and confront them with what you found, or you can keep observing until you're satisfied that everything is on the up and up, or you've confirmed that there's a problem. If you decide to go the meeting route, wait to talk to the bartender until after their shift or the next day. The last thing you want is a confrontation in front of customers. In short, there are a number of ways we can be proactive when it comes to being aware of what's actually going on in the restaurant. Finally, in our last installment, we're going to talk about how to handle the bartenders and how to administer a meeting if a confrontation is necessary. We'll see you then.